Good bluff at it.
It's the perfect card, right?
Yeah.
It's a perfect
Especially when
card.
the king's out there, and you got the queen in there.
It's a perfect card. Greetings, humans, and welcome back. I'm Joey Pigtails, and this is going to be episode number 4 of my poker vlog. This is actually part 1 of 2 videos from my session at Orange City Racing and Card Club on Monday, March 20th. I played about 7 hours in the 1-2 500 cap game, starting off at the must move and eventually finding my way over to the main game. There are a lot of hands to go through, so I've narrowed this down to the most interesting hands that have post-flop action, and I'm hoping to hear from you on what you would have done in some of these situations. Part 2 will be coming out within a week of this video, and will include the hands I played when I decided to drastically increase my variance by stepping into the 5-5 game that night, so check it out when it drops. I just got back from Best Bet Jacksonville, where I played the $200 brownie event. I ended up cashing in 25th place, which was cool, but even cooler was I finally got to meet David Tuckman, who commentates on the Hustler live streams as well as the WSOP streams during the summer. He's such a cool dude with positive vibes. I'll be heading back there on Friday, March 31st to play the $1,200 main event, so if you're there, stop by and say hello. For now, I have a ton of hands to go over, so let's do it. In the first hand, there's one limp to me. I limp Ace of Diamonds, King of Clubs, 10 of Diamonds, Ace of Diamonds. This is a strong hand that I should be opening for a raise, but I'm new to the table and want to get a feel for how aggressive or passive these players are. There are 3 limps behind me, and both blinds call, so we are 7 ways to a flop. With $35 in, the flop is 5 of Diamonds, 6 of Clubs, King of Diamonds. It's checked for the under the gun player, who verbalizes pot rather forcefully, with about $100 behind, and I'm next to act with top and a nut flush draw. I can raise here and push the action, but my hand still isn't made yet, and we have numerous players left to act behind us, so I call, hoping to see more action behind. Everybody else folds. With $105 in, the turn is a 9 of Diamonds. It gives me the nut flush, and my opponent shoves his remaining $100 in the middle, which I snap off and end up scooping, as he shows Queen of Diamonds, 2 of Diamonds, 3 of Clubs, 5 of Clubs, for a worse flush, and I scoop this one. The river was an inconsequential Queen of Hearts. There's one limp to me, and I open at $20 with Queen of Diamonds, Queen of Hearts, 9 of Hearts, 7 of Diamonds from middle position. There's one call on my left, and the blinds and limpers fold. With $45 in, we see a flop of Ace of Diamonds, 10 of Diamonds, 6 of Spades. I flop a second nut flush draw and a gutter to the 10 high straight. Being the aggressor pre-flop, I continuation bet for $30. My opponent quickly calls, and we see a turn of the 4 of Diamonds. I've now hit the number 2 flush. I ultimately decide to check with the intention of check calling and evaluating the river. My opponent checks behind, and that says a lot about the strength of their hand. With 105 in, the river brings the absolute best card in the deck, the King of Diamonds. I now have the nut flush, and I'm looking for value. I fire $75 hoping for a crying call or to induce a raise from a smaller flush. But my opponent tank folds and shows Ace of Hearts, 6 of Clubs for 2 pair. I'm thinking I should have bet the turn for value, possibly smallish. Let me know what you think there. In the next hand, I am under the gun and I see Ace of Hearts, Ace of Spades, 7 of Spades, 2 of Diamonds, and open for $20. MP1, MP2, and the cutoff all call. With $80 in, the flop is 3 of Diamonds, 10 of Clubs, 8 of Clubs. I flop nothing here on a board that surely has smacked one of these people in the face, so I check. And it's checked around. The turn is the 5 of Clubs, giving me a gutter on a flushed board, so I still have nothing and I check again, and it's checked around. The river is the 4 of Clubs, and I've now backed into a sucker straight here. I eye up the field, and the guy in C3 is looking like he wants to put a bet out here, so I check anticipating having to fold, but amazingly, it's checked around again. I announce straight, and my aces pick up a pot here. In the next hand, I've just moved over to the main game. There's a button straddle for $5, the blinds both call, and from under the gun I look down at King of Clubs, King of Spades, Queen of Spades, 7 of Diamonds, and limp as I'm getting set up. MP1 opens to $30, there's one call behind me from the blinds, and I call as well. With $100 in, the flop is King of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds, 4 of Clubs. I flop second set here, but it's an ace-high board, so I check. The villain leads for $60, and the player in the small blind folds. While this villain could have ace-ace, he could have a lot of things, including flush and straight draws, so I call. With $220 in, the turn is a 2 of Diamonds. I check and our opponent checks back quickly. The river is the 3 of Hearts, which is not exactly ideal. The weaker hands our opponent can have here include a lot of ace-5xx combos, so this isn't the card to lose our mind with. I ended up checking, and the villain checked back. I announced set, and our opponent folds. Fast forward a while after a lot of folding and bleeding off chips, and we arrive at the next hand, ace of spades, 8 of diamonds, jack of hearts, 3 of spades. The 6 of clubs has been burned. Our friend Al opens under the gun for $15, and I make the call. The table has been rather passive as a few people left, and they're filling the game up from the must move. So I call, and we end up seeing a flop of ace of hearts, 3 of diamonds, 8 of clubs, giving me what's known as the mirror. There's $33 in the pot, and our resident legend bets $20. With a mirror on a rainbow board, I decide to make the call. The turn is the 10 of diamonds, which doesn't help, but since the bet is only $20, I go ahead and make the call again. The river is the queen of hearts, and we see another friendly bet of $20. I can't say no for that price, so I call and see the bad news. Our opponent announces set, which he had, but he also had the nuts straight with 8 of hearts, 8 of spades, jack of spades, king of spades to take this $150 pot. The chip leading continued at a steady pace since I arrived at the main game here, and I'm looking to turn that around. In the next hand, I opened a $50 from middle position over an under-the-gun open of $10 and a call on my right with ace of diamonds, king of hearts, king of spades, 9 of diamonds. It's folded around to the opener who calls, as does the other player. With $150 in, we see a flop of 10 of clubs, 9 of spades, 5 of hearts. This is not what we wanted to see here. It's checked to me, and both of these players have been really sticky, so I check behind to pot control. The turn is the 6 of hearts, another card that doesn't improve my equity. It probably smacks both of these guys in the face. Under the gun now bets $80, and the guy on my right repots it all in, and I fold as quickly as possible. With a button straddle of $5, the blinds fold, and I open ace of clubs, 10 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 5 of clubs at $20. Here we go, another chance to turn this around. There are 2 calls for a $60 pot, and we see a flop of ace of hearts, jack of diamonds, 6 of hearts. Okie dokie. I'm first to act, so let's rep ace-ace here and see if we can win one or build a pot and evaluate. I go ahead and bet $50, and thankfully I didn't have to wait long before both players fold. Okay, deep breath. Bleeding stop for the moment. Up to this point, I've been getting a bit impatient. Being upstuck is one of the forms of tilt, and being conscious of this is really important. Being human, we still fall into these habits though, and I'm definitely human. In the next hand, we are finally full at the table. Under the gun folds, and the player on my right opens to $15. I look down at ace of spades, ace of hearts, 7 of clubs, 3 of clubs, and call. These aces aren't the best, so let's see what happens. There are 2 calls behind me before the player in the small blind raises to $80. The blinds fold, and then the player on my right calls 80. I can call here, and if it's raised behind, call off with this hand for sure, or I can also just spring the trap and try to take the $190 that's out there right now. I'm all in for $410, and while I don't mind a call, I'd really like to just take this down right now. The hijack folds, the button is all in for about $100, the small blind insta-jams, and the guy on my right is all in for $60. That is not good. So, let's see what happens here. The flop comes 3 of spades, 3 of hearts, jack of clubs, and we hit it! The board runs out the 5 of hearts, and then the 2 of spades, and we have trip threes, and it looks like we're going to scoop this pot. That is until the player in C2 shows he has the other 2 aces, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds, along with the queen of clubs and, unfortunately, the 4 diamonds for a rivered straight to take this pot. All right, deep breath. This happens. Let's reload, recenter, and let's get back to work. With one limp to me, I open to $20 with ace of clubs, king of clubs, 9 of spades, 9 of clubs. The button calls and the limper calls. With $60 in, we see a flop of 10 of clubs, 9 of spades, 6 of diamonds. Another whiff. We at least have 4 clean outs to the nuts straight now, and backdoor clubs, so hopefully we can see a cheap turn. It's check to me, I check, and the button checks behind. The turn is the 7 of clubs. It's a good card that brings in some equity for me, but I have 3 clubs in my hand, so there aren't that many outs to make my hand. The Under the Gun player leads this turn card for $30, and I have a lot of reasons to continue, so I put in the call, and the button folds. With $120 in the pot, the river is the 2 of clubs, giving me the nut flush. Now my opponent leads for $15 with $250 behind. Wait, what? This bet feels really weak, like some sort of set or straight that is trying to block bet now that the river's changed. I'm fairly certain he will fold if I bet the maximum, so with value in mind, I raise to $75. The opponent squirms a little, but puts in the call to see the bad news, and I take this down. After playing a variety of hands in my favorite seat at the table, I look down at Ace of Diamonds, Ace of Spades, King of Diamonds, 3 of Clubs. It's folded to the hijack, who opens for $15. I raise to $55 from the small blind, and the hijack comes along. With $110 in the pot, we see a flop of 2 of Clubs, 6 of Diamonds, 7 of Diamonds. I flop a nut flush draw here with an overpair, and I don't expect my opponent to be coming along with too many combos of 6-6 or 7-7 here, so I lead pot. My opponent repots it here, and I don't have much choice, so I decide to get it in. Was this a good play, or rather fishy here? Let me know what you think in the comments. My opponent calls, and we see the Jack of Spades in the turn and the 5 of Spades in the river. My opponent rolls over one of the hands we expected to see, which was a full wrap with 5 of Diamonds, 10 of Diamonds, 9 of Spades, 8 of Clubs, so he was actually way ahead here equity-wise by blocking my diamond draw and having full wrap straight draw. For the second time today, I'm reloading and I'm a bit tilted. A few more hands go by with a lot of folds pre-flop and on flops, but nothing big until we get to the next hand and I look down at King of Spades, King of Diamonds, 9 of Diamonds, 8 of Spades. The Under the Gun player opens at 10, there are 2 calls and I raise to 50. Under the Gun, middle position, and the low jack all call, making a pot of $200. The flop is Ace of Spades, Ace of Clubs, 5 of Spades. I'm not really loving this at all, even with a nut flush draw on this paired board. It's checked around to me, and I check around as well for pot control. The turn is the 3 of Spades, giving me the nut flush, and since it is checked to me, I'm going to bet for value now, as I expect any decent ace to bet here, so I fire half pot for $100. The initial raiser calls, and with $400 in the pot, we see the Jack of Hearts on the river. I don't expect my opponent to call the turn. We're less than an ace here. So when my opponent checks the river, this is a spot where we could go for thin value with this flush. But we should be worried about a boat coming in, and I decided to check back and end up winning this pot. Let me know what you think, if I should have bet this river, and if so, how much. After this hand, there wasn't much happening for me. I called a few raises pre-flop and folded flops, and raised a few pots myself, and completely missed the boards having to fold. It's at this point that I decide to increase my variance and jump from the 1-2 game into a deeper stacked 5-5 PLO game. You can see from the graphic, I'm in for a total of $1,500 this session, and I'm leaving with $348 going into the 5-5 for a loss of $1,152 at 1-2. So how will it go? Tune into vlog number 5, where I'll go over the chaotic events of the next 2 hours, including multiple bomb pots and all-ins with thousands of dollars on the line. I hope to see you there. I always appreciate your feedback, so don't forget to like it if you like it, comment with your thoughts and suggestions, and a subscribe really goes a long way to helping me grow the channel. Until then, I'm Joey Pigtails, and I am transparent, reminding you to be a good human. Bye!